Hey there, Bry Guy here with Graham, and we are looking into the Matrix Awakens, a Unreal Tech demo. So this is the first bit of Unreal Tech that's not just to devs, and that's going kind of live to everyone to play with. So before, there's
Mhm.
been some sandbox demos you can play with. You can download the engine, you can pull stuff into it yourself and play around with it as well. And some devs have had earlier access to it than that. But this is the first time the public has the ability to play something on real hardware and test out what it's like on the game consoles. So I'm curious what kind of concessions they have to make, what they have to go into it. You have any thoughts going into this?
From what it looks like right now, I feel like the implementation of all the tech, all the new tech in this demo is, I think it's very, very well executed. I'm actually pretty impressed.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched it in its entirety yet.
Yeah,
So
you mentioned before that you really
uh,
wanted to look into the car deformation tech.
yeah, the card information tech and the physics. Because as of right now, I don't think Nanite supports like a super accurate physics like that right now. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I
I don't
just
really touch physics in my own demos, so
Digital Foundry talked to the devs and had more insight into that. They had
yeah.
a recent video, it was really great, but they talked about, they showed in the video the nanite layer, and when you
Mhm.
collide with the vehicles, it turns it off and turns it into a regular mesh so that they can deform it. So it's
Mhm.
keeping performance really as good as they possibly can, but there seems to be some frame rate drops when it transitions. So when it
Well,
transitions
yeah.
from one to the other, then from a nanite mesh to a typical mesh, then
Yeah, taking
there's
it from like some virtualized geometry, then converting it back into a regular mesh, which will have like a decent amount of GPU load.
yeah.
So
So what doesn't it
yeah.
doesn't seem to be the GPU load because it's only one mesh that's having that happen to it. What it seems to be is
Oh,
the
okay.
conversion process because there's a hiccup
Yeah.
when the collision starts and then the frame rate's fine. So anyways, it's when it translates it from a nanite mesh to a regular mesh. So it's something they could definitely optimize in the
Because
future.
I feel like they probably could just like if maybe they could stream in that regular mesh before, well, have it streamed up but not actually appear in the actual game.
Yeah.
So when it actually collides, it's automatically prepared to render. I'm thinking it might be even like a storage hiccup or something. It's also possible. You just
Yeah.
have to reload the entire
I mean,
mesh.
we have
I
faster
don't know.
storage than we ever have had before, but
Yeah.
I'm sure they can find some kind of either data compression or something to take care
Hmm.
of it in the future. But anyways, let's get to it. Talk about it as we go along. Ooh, fancy. I'm excited. Mm, there we go. Got the Warner Brothers logo.
Dun, 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 dun. Do you think this logo was rendered in Unreal 5 too? Is it just a demo?
I don't know. I don't think they.
Just
It might be.
uh,
It might be rendered in Unreal Engine 5. Yeah. I mean, it's mostly just graphic design right now.
yeah.
Let's enter this matrix. Up settings. A. Oh, there we go. It's just doing the same thing again. What's this thing's problem? It's like the original intro all over again, except now it's all
Hmm.
in game.
Hi, I'm
Man, that looks
Thomas Hatter.
nuts. We can't pause
Yeah.
it with
Like many of
live
you, I
play.
work with
Um,
computers. I like the
I think
freedom I
the
feel
like I
outside
don't
the
know at a glance you wouldn't
limitations
know,
of the
but it's
real
like I think it's
world.
the edges of everything
But
that still doesn't
computers
look
are
real,
also
right? It's
mirrors,
like
Yeah,
where the
it's the
reflecting
edges and the
back to me
anti-aliasing,
what
I
we
think
are
that's
and the
also kind of
choices we make.
yeah,
cutting. This
The
this lighting
worlds
here
we
is nuts.
build.
This lighting looks so good.
They
yeah,
also
For
confront us with
yeah.
questions
yeah.
about why we
Well,
want
this
to
is using Lumen,
choose
right? So it's
this or
like
that.
Yeah.
that's
Why we
pretty
want to
close
make
to
X
real, but
instead of
it's
Y.
like it's just
Where
the
do
edge of the
ideas of
hair
who
and
we
all
are
of
and where
that and
we
how it
want
meets
to
the
even
environment
come
just
from.
isn't 100% real.
You
But
take a red
it
pill,
might be the closest I've
and I
seen.
show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This isn't real. What is real?
This is why they can do stuff
How do you define real?
For
like The
instance, I'm not even
Mandalorian. Like
sure
this
why
is
I'm here.
definitely going to change how films are done in the
I
future when
remember
this
waking
engine
up
tech
and
is
thinking that
mainstream.
I'm supposed to come here. That it
Once
was
mainstream,
important for
super
me to ask
optimized.
people.
Yeah.
It's like I
don't
think the
know
animations
what
are the
is
thing
real.
that aren't 100% selling it.
It's a bit too smooth. It's a bit too smooth. I
Yeah, it's a
think.
bit too smooth, and there's
Over 20 years ago,
something
I first played the
about
character
it
Thomas
that's
Anderson
it's. I mean,
in
it's way better than
Matrix.
when you see like
Those
robots that
films
they try to
pioneered
animate to
digital
look like
cinema
human in
with
real world,
shots
but
like
they're
bullet time.
it's still
Back
not
then, we talked a
100% there.
lot
It's got
about where the digital
just something
age
about
might
how
take
the arms
cinema
move
narrative.
and the relationship with
In
the
an
environment.
industry where actors have
But when
tried
they
to
just have a
remain
face cropped in, it's
perpetually
pretty
young.
convincing.
We wondered
Yeah.
about digital faces that could become immortal.
Keanu looks a bit
Hi,
better. Keanu
I'm
Reeves looks a
Carrie
bit
Ann
better.
Moss,
I
and
don't
Yeah.
think
I
the
played
characters ever
Trinity in
take
the Matrix
say
Yeah.
just because he's like
20 years ago, we
iconic.
asked ourselves how
Yeah,
long
well,
it
these
would
ones
be
they
before
scanned, right?
faces
So
and
it's
bodies
like you can
Yeah.
tell, like on the
easily
side when you look at the other
interchange
characters, the
We
ones
wondered
that
what would
are
identity
just
mean
kind of
in a
generic
completely
metahumans versus the
digital
ones
world.
that are
Custom.
full
What would
scanned.
reality mean?
But
When a world
Yeah.
we can build
if you
feels
weren't
as
paying
real
close
as our own.
attention, you wouldn't even notice.
Like the particle effects. Oh my god.
Yeah.
What they wanted.
Yeah.
They said they were
It's
fine
nuts.
with your theory.
Yeah.
It's so close to a movie.
They needed
It-
some sexy action.
Yeah. It's...
Who said
The marketing people.
marketing? I thought we
The
were
scale of the
supposed to have
environments
total
too.
creative
Like
control.
one of the things that Unreal 5 really changes is just popping is not noticeable. There's some stability of objects at a distance issues, like windows at an extreme angle. It might be their their temporal upscaling that it just doesn't have enough pixels to work with, so there's flickering on those kind of objects, but there's just the LOD pop-in just isn't noticeable in the same way things have been in the past.
Right on.
There's some noise.
And the reflections.
Oh, I think DLSS is also running in this demo as well. I
It's
saw
not
some
DLSS
distortion.
because it's
But whatever you do,
it's on the consoles, but it's image reproduction, but it's not like it's scaling up from a lower resolution for sure.
Oh,
But
okay. I saw some distortion on like the size of the character's face. At one point.
yeah, there's also like the reflections kind of just have weird things that happen in them at specific points.
Shoot
Yeah.
the tires.
It's like
Say no more.
this is better than the second Matrix movie.
Yeah. Like the physics are nuts.
Yeah, and everything is handled like that car flipping and stuff. Oh, wait, I'm shooting. Crap. I didn't realize I was playing. Okay. It's so good. It's like a movie experience. Pop it. No, shoot him. It's kind of like the evolution of QuickTime events in a way.
Yeah.
The physics, so, sorry, I'm looking at the little shards of glass in the bay.
In the car, yeah.
The physics on them is actually pretty convincing, but like the level of ambient occlusion just isn't marrying them to the environment properly.
Yeah, I was
So-
just gonna say like it needs to be a bit more like micro detailed there, like really tiny shards.
Yeah.
Like it spark a little bit.
Yeah, I just like they're just lacking context shadow, and they're lacking just a little bit of something to nestle them, but it's like, that's what it would be from like the difference between this and reality. Like, I'm not trying to badmouth this is already nuts, but the exposure's pretty good too.
They're pretty good. Just the one thing, it's also in most games, I feel like they're a bit blurry.
Yeah. Well, they're definitely sampled up from the lower resolution, probably half res is what it is.
Still on us. Up ahead.
Oh, I'm shooting again. Man, the car is coming at you and stuff. This is like, I don't know, for anyone who doesn't have a Series X or PS5, I kind of apologize, but it's actually much more impressive on, like, I've seen streams, I've watched, this is the first time I'm playing this, but I've seen Digital Foundry play this, and it's way different than the actually playing it yourself. Oh, the particles, the quantity of particles. There's definitely frame rate drops and stutters, and there's like issues with scene changes, but like for an early prototype, this is nuts. Like if they hammer all that stuff out, it'd be amazing. It would be seamless. It would just be almost like a flawless experience if they did that. Even when you're shooting, you're getting little reflections of light on the back of your car is great.
Like the dents on that,
Yeah, the cars is bid for 'em. I wonder, they probably know how many cars they can handle doing that on. It's like 4 cars or 5 cars, right? It's like, it's not all of
Or
them.
like take it out of nanite, then render it back into nanite after it's the simulation is done.
Hold steady.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know.
You think they could do that?
Probably could. Like,
Hell yeah.
yeah, the fire here looks better than that shot. I would say.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
are you doing? Time to blow this box down.
I feel like the characters and like the rendering, the way they look reminds me of like what's the company that does a bunch of trailers for Riot?
Oh.
And when they do like hyper realistic renderings, it looks like
It's crazy.
that simulation's nuts.
That's simulations. It's hard to know when they're going to transition because some of these are probably videos, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it's just impossible to tell without stopping and picking out the frames. But it's actually nuts to have like a polished Unreal 5 experience like this in your hand. And this is kind of what I've been talking about for a while, is that the people that are judging the current generation of consoles by launch titles or first year titles are misrepresenting the hardware, because there's so many hardware features that just weren't being used yet. And this is starting to, oh my gosh, so this is all of the AI being visualized. It's pretty crazy. This car is, yeah, dynamic lumen, yeah, so using distance fields, day and night. Well, that's crazy. Just in real time, turning day and night.
You can still see like the sampling going on, you know, like the little blurry spots, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like the engines are what's going to separate things this next generation. It's just going to
Yeah.
be whether so this is nanite. This is what we're talking about. So as meshes get closer to the screen, they get recalculated to have the geometry that's necessary. That's what nanite is. So it's a way to handle meshes, but currently it only works for static meshes. So, okay, so this is the super resolution that we're talking about. So this is the actual resolution, the native resolution that's being run on Xbox Series X, and then when you push the button, it's reconstructing the image. Probably using lots of things, motion vectors, multiple frames, data, things like that.
Yep.
Oh wow. This is,
Walk around.
yeah, this is crazy. This is just a step above like Watch Dogs Legion by a fair margin. I'm getting frame rates not amazing.
You can see some like distortion on the character's hair as well.
Yeah, so this is the ghosting. This is kind of what I was saying earlier in the other video. It's like, especially around the top of the hair. I don't know what the deal is with that. It's but like how the units interact with the environment is one of the main things that's stopping all of it from being completely photorealistic, right? It's
I'm
like,
also thinking that the demo is also using like a newer version of Unreal Engine 5 that's currently available to like test out, just because I noticed immediately there's transparency in the windows, which the current demo doesn't support.
yeah, I know that
With Lumen at least.
I know that we gotta find a chain link fence, because Digital Foundry was pointing out the fact that they are like the first real chain link fence that are actually geometry as opposed to just alpha.
Yeah. But do you want to look inside a car for a second? Like, I want to see the bounce setting inside the car. Oh yeah, it's there. Kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Body of the car showing reflections. What kind of reflections are those? Are they?
It's probably just Lumen with like hardware acceleration. That's what I'm guessing.
No. I
Did it freeze?
think it crashed. Perfect time to wrap up the video, but we got to sample a little bit of. I don't think the Xbox crashed. I think that the feed of Elgato crashed. Maybe I can try to reactivate it. But anyways, pretty impressive. I think that, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to just kind of summarize there. From a tech perspective, that's pretty nuts. As engines implement features like variable rate shading and mesh shaders and things like that to accelerate the hardware that's inside the new consoles, we're going to see a big game change in graphics. And something like this is going to become pretty standard fare. I think that
Yeah.
most games are going to look like this in 3 or 4 years, or they're not going to be competitive because games can look like this. Whether or not we can do that at high frame rates is another thing. But, you know, we might be able to get high-end PCs to 60, but 120 might be off the table, right? Which might make this engine not suitable for competitive games. Maybe just competitive games are uglier because if you can't get high frame rates, it's like people will never want 60 FPS in like Counter-Strike or whatever, Valorant, any of those games, Apex Legends, PUBG, whatever. Even though PUBG you can't get high frame rates in PUBG. But anyways, it's anyways, very impressive stuff. I'm really curious to see where they get to go with this in the future. And you have any thoughts?
I'm just interested to see how other engine companies or other studios are gonna have to compete with Unreal's tech.
Yeah.
Because nothing's even come close in these past 2 years.
We haven't seen any of
It's been announced.
It's the first
So,
engine to be implementing these kind of things, but it doesn't mean
no,
that the
yeah,
competition is lacking behind. We're also seeing first party efforts using Unreal Engine, which is a big shift.
yeah.
Like even Yoshi's Crafted World used Unreal 4 from Nintendo, which
Mhm.
is usually they only use their own engine tech, and same with Sony Returnal by Housemarque
Mhm.
or Housemarque, I don't know how to say it, but they also were using Unreal. So and that was Unreal
I
4.
just want to see how like Snowdrop and Frostbite and Unity are all gonna. Those are probably the biggest engines that are used. Then
Yeah, it's gonna be
they're gonna
some
compete.
it's gonna be some other variant of Snowdrop. It's not gonna be like it's either
Yeah,
gonna
something
be
else.
they might name it something different when they announce the current generation consoles and PC versions of it. The big thing is that with that I worry about with Unreal 5 is we're gonna need a hardware drop off for legacy hardware. Like
Hmm.
we're gonna have to say, sorry, 1080 Ti, you're out of the game. Sorry, 2060s, you're out of the game too. Like anything that doesn't have the hardware features.
I
It's
mean,
like
with Lumen, you could definitely fake it. You make lighting look significantly worse. But with Nanite, if the actual like title is using that technology the entire way through, it's kind of hard to make two completely different games where everything is baked
yeah.
or where everything is just scans.
And with
So
the prices of GPUs in the market and stuff right now, it's a
yeah.
hard sell for getting
Mhm.
people to get like massive GPUs. It's like I don't know. The consoles might be the best bet for a lot of players, not everyone. People that need super high refresh rates and competitive gaming will still need to go to PC, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of that, but I'm excited about the tech. I think there's a lot of really cool things there. I'd hope that the prices don't get any crazier, but yeah, hopefully we see more stuff like this. Anyways,
Mhm.
I hope you liked the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.